Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time, hi, my name is Emerald Osiri and I'm so glad you clicked on this video. So today we're going to be talking about my journey to becoming a national finalist in the United States. Yay! So we have a lot to talk about. As you can, it's like this entire list of things and it goes all the way down to the bottom. So just stick around because it's going to be very fun. So, first of all, my journey to becoming a national champion began with me joining this organization called Business Professionals of America, right? So I don't know if you've heard about it. I didn't hear about it until like my senior year. So it's not that popular, but it kind of is. Pretty much Business Professionals of America, or BPA as we call it, it's kind of like an organization that kind of prepares students for careers in business and technology and things like that. And yeah, even if you don't plan on going into any of that, like it just teaches you skills that would be very helpful in your future careers and stuff. Like for example, in this organization you learn how to create a killer presentation if you want to go get a contract for something, or like it teaches you how to make a website for your business, or like how to effectively use Microsoft Excel to like plan out your budgets and everything, expenses for your company. Like it just teaches you a lot of these like skills for the like career award and stuff like that. So yeah, I talked about how I got to join this organization in my last video, 4 tips in 4 years. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. It's very insightful. So yeah, I joined BPA in October, and so how it is there's 60 different competitions, 60 different sections that you can choose from, like depending on what your interests are. So for me, I chose to, like, every student is allowed to choose 2 different competitions that like once you first join. So I joined in October and I picked presentation management individual, and that just like you basically have to make a 10-minute presentation and like give it to a judges. Like those judges kind of be like the CEOs or whatever that you're trying to present to. So like you're trying to make a presentation for your company and present it to them, right? And then my second one was fundamental spreadsheets applications, and that is where I have to like pretty much learn every nitty gritty of Microsoft Excel and learn how to use it to like just make expenses and budgets for my company. And like when it's time, we would all go into this room and just do a competition based on that. So yeah, I chose those 2 competitions in let's say October, and regionals was to be in January 6th. So how BPA works is we have 3 different levels of competitions, right? We have regionals, states, and nationals. Now regionals is just like 6 different towns in your states like make up a region, right? And in those 6 different towns, you're like so many different schools. So all those schools will come together and compete against each other, right? That's regional. The states is the entire state of whichever state you live, So every like different schools from different districts from all over, because I live in Michigan, so like from all over Michigan would come together to one place and compete against each other, right? And that's for states. Then we have nationals, which is the biggest one. That's the entire country of the United States. Schools from all over, like different states and different districts and everything will come together and compete in one designated state. And yeah, whoever is the winner will be crowned a national champion and stuff like that. So yeah, I was pretty like everyone's goal, every person who joins BPA, their goal is to make it all the way to nationals and hopefully be a finalist or a champion at nationals. And that was my goal too, because this is my first year in BPA, right? But it's also my last year. It was also my last year because I was a senior. I was supposed to graduate in a year. So if I didn't make it to nationals, I don't have any other chance to come back the next year or something. So I really wanted to like make it to nationals and like go out with a bang. So yeah, I'm preparing for my presentation. Practicing my spreadsheets and everything. And January 6th comes in, and it's time. That's the day of regionals, and everyone like puts on their professional suits and everything, because that's the thing about BPA. Like they make it as authentic as possible. Like so everyone has to be in their professional best, business casual, things like that. So we all had our suits, blazers, skirts, everything. It just looked so cool. And like we all met at this college. That's where the competitions were being held. And like people from different schools came in, and like I just got to meet so many new people, and I just felt like I was part of something bigger than myself. And that feeling was just so nice, because it's been a while since I felt like that. Because for a while, like in my junior year of high school, I kind of stopped every extracurricular I was doing. Like I would go to school, do my work, turn in my homework, and go back home. Like I wasn't doing anything apart from school, and it was so boring. My social life was really deprived. So just being part of that and just seeing so many new people and like just making friends with my own teammates, from my own school was amazing. So anyways, I go in to the room at my time. I think my call time was like 10 a.m. or something. So I was there from 7 a.m. to my call time. I go in, I present my 10-minute presentation, and it goes amazing. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And like, even it was so funny because like when I was done, usually when you're done with something like that, like your friends or like your advisor would be like, oh, did you do a good job? And you'd be like, yes. But like my advisor asked me, are you happy? And I thought that was just like a very weird question, but also like a good question to ask, because if you're happy with what you did, then that means you did a good job. So I was like, yeah, I'm happy. And then I go in for my spreadsheets one, and it went really good as well. So anyways, it's 12 p.m. I'm done with all my competitions. I go back home, and then the award ceremony is at 6 p.m. in the evening. So we come in, and then they call up like all the 60 different competitions, and I found out that I placed in both of them. That means I get to move up to states. So I got second place in my presentation out of like in the entire region, and I got third place in my spreadsheets competition, which was amazing. So I get to go to states for both of them, which is pretty great, obviously. So yeah, I'm excited. That's January. So now states is in March, I don't know, maybe March 10th or something. So I have 2 more months to prepare. However, like I don't know if you guys know that saying that goes, what got you here is definitely not enough to take you where you want to go. That is exactly how the situation was. So like my presentation or like whatever I had practiced for my spreadsheets competition was definitely not enough to allow me to win at state. So like I had to completely revamp my entire thing. Like I had to look for new data, new sources and different things to add to my business presentation, and like also look for new different ways to like practice for my other competition. It was a lot of work. I didn't know what I was doing because, as I said, this was my first year. So like I really worked hand in hand with my advisor who had been doing this for 30 years, and she kind of like advised me on what to do and stuff. So yeah, I practice and everything. And also we all meet, like all students from the states, like all of us from the state of Michigan kind of like meet at this hotel called the Amway Grand Plaza Hotel. It's in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It is so beautiful. Like I will try to insert some pictures or videos if I have any. So like we meet at that hotel. Everyone has like their own rooms and everything. It's just a really like it's an awesome experience. And I just think like being part of BPA was an amazing experience for me because I got to experience all these things. Anyways, we're at that hotel, and everyone has different, because obviously now we're not just a few hundred students competing from different schools. Now we're like 2,000 students from all over Michigan. So like everyone had different times that they have to go do their own presentation or like go like deliver or like go compete or something. So everyone had different times. So I think I presented it was on a Thursday. We got there, I presented on Friday. And how it works is because there's so much more people now presenting, and like so much more people now like trying to fight for the top 3 spots, because it's only the top 3 people that get to move on to nationals. So because of that, like they have to do something called semifinals and also finals. So the first, like the entire, let's say there are 200 people competing for 3 spots, all 200 people will present, and then from those 200 people they will pick 10 people who will be finals. And those 10 people would be automatically like top 10 in Michigan, but then they obviously have to pick top 3 that would get to move on to nationals and represent Michigan. So then we would all have to present again and then go for that. So I present Friday morning, and by Friday afternoon, my teacher calls me to her room and she's like, oh my gosh, guess what? You made it to finals, so you're top 10 in Michigan right now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exciting. Like we give each other high fives and everything, and it was like amazing. So Saturday morning, I have to go back and present against, the top 10 in Michigan. Like they're all like, obviously all their presentations are so amazing. So like I'm kind of getting cold feet at this point. Like, is mine good enough? Like what can I add? What can I take away to make it, good enough to at least get to that top 3, just so I can move on to nationals and like represent my state, Anyways, I was just like, at this point, like there's nothing I can do, So I just pray. I pray over my presentation. I pray over the judges I present to. I pray over my computer, everything, and I go in and I present again. And yeah, I also did my other, spreadsheets competition, and honestly, that one wasn't that great. Like, it was kind of hard, so I didn't really have high hopes for that one, but it was all good. I always told myself that if I can make it for the presentation, then at least I can go to nationals for one of my competitions, which would be way more than any other person can, like than many people can say for themselves. So, anyways, Sunday, or no, actually Saturday night comes around and it is time for the award ceremony. So all 2,000 students and faculty and advisors and everyone, we all gather in this like huge hall, and they start calling off all the different presentations, and you know they get to my spreadsheets competition, and like I obviously, like I just said, I didn't have high hopes for that one, so I just kind of like leave it aside, like, oh, I'm probably not on the list. But then they put out the list of the top 10 in Michigan and tell me why my name is up there. I'm like, what? That is crazy. So like obviously they call up all top 10 of us to the stage, right? So like we go on the stage and they start calling from the bottom. So how it is they call 10th, 9, 8, 7. So if you don't hear your name, that's actually a good sign, because that means you're obviously higher on the list. So they call 10th, 9, 8, 7, and it's not me. And then they call 6th place, and it's not me. At this point, I know I already placed for national, because for this specific competition, you need to get either 1st to 5th place to place and move on to nationals. And then they call 5th place, and it's my name. That means I placed for the competition that I was so scared about. I was so happy. I was joyful. All my teammates in the crowd were cheering for me. It was amazing. So they gave me like this little plaque. I don't have it right now, but yeah. And okay, so like I was saying, they gave me this little plaque, just because I got 5th place, and it was just really cool. So I go back to my seat, and then like they call other competitions, and I clap and everything. And then they get to my presentation competition, the presentation management individual. And obviously I know I was already top 10, so I see my name on the board like I knew. So, they call us up on stage, and then they go 10th place, 9th place, 7th place, and it's not me. Then they go 4th, 5th, 5th, 4th, 3rd. And at this point I'm so excited, because like that means I made it to nationals, because my name has not yet been called, and there are only 2 spots left, either 2nd or 1st. I'm like, wait, am I 1st in Michigan? And then they call 2nd place, and it's not me. At this point, like all my teammates in the crowd just start cheering, and like I just start crying, which is so ironic, because I'm usually the kind of person who, like, when I see people crying in public, I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, pull yourself together. But then I just start crying on stage. I have this funny picture that my sister always makes fun of me for, because I'm just crying, and like I'm holding this plaque that they give me for, it's like as big as my head. I'm like yeah. So it was amazing. And I go back to my seat, and like once I stepped down from the stage, my teacher, my advisor, she gives me a hug, and she's like, I knew you could do it. And like at that point I was just so full of joy, because like in this life, hard work is very important, obviously, like putting in your best as possible to achieve your goals is very important, but also favor with God and favor with man is also very important, because without this, my advisor, like there are so many things, like my confidence wouldn't have been able to get me to the point where I would get 1st place in Michigan, because every time I would present to her and like go to her and be like, I don't know what I'm doing, like I just feel so lost, she would tell me, Grace, you are one of the best people I've ever seen, like best competitors, because you are so driven, and like I know you're gonna get 1st place. She always kept on telling me that, and because of her words of affirmation, like I was able to push through and actually get what I wanted. I mean, like halfway of what I wanted. So yeah, it was amazing. Anyways, that's all that is for states, and I think that is March 10th. Now we move on to nationals, which is in May. That was May, I think 2nd or something. So just for like the states one, we have 2 months to prepare, and obviously just like states, I have to completely revamp my entire presentation, because now I'm going to be competing against the best of the best in every single state, and that is not something nice to think about, because it's like, oh my gosh, because I know how hard I worked to get my presentation up to par to get like 1st place in Michigan. So like how much harder, like what else can I possibly add to my presentation to make it good enough for nationals, So it was a lot of work. I was so stressed out, but I just went with it, right? And yeah, I prepared. I packed my bags, because now we actually have to fly. So I live in Michigan, the nationals is in Texas. That's all the way across the country. So now we have to, fly over there, get hotel rooms and everything. So yeah, we do that. And March 2nd, we land in Texas. And this is so exciting because I think this is my first time in a plane in almost 4 years. Like, just being in that plane, and I had a window seat too, which I mean, check. Like, I love that so much. So like, just the experience alone was amazing. Anyways, we get to Texas. We got our rooms, and I think we stay in this huge hotel called the Hilton Anatole, which is like this really nice hotel in Dallas, Texas. Like, we're right at the center of Dallas, Texas, which is awesome. So yeah, we get our rooms, and I'm like, this is amazing. So because we spent over a week there, like, we not only focus on competitions, we also had different things we're focusing on, like fun stuff as well. So like, for example, we go to the zoo, we go to this like Cinco de Mayo festival, we go to the aquarium, we go to different restaurants, and like, it was just a really nice bonding time with my team, and also to like experience Dallas, Texas, because I've never been there before. Anyways, now on to the serious stuff. We get there on Tuesday. Wednesday, I present. And obviously, just like states, we also have the semifinals and the finals. So let's say I present against 600 people, because there are over 6,000 people competing, because it's like from all over the country. So there's so many, like way more people there. So I present against like 600 people. And then that's on Wednesday. And, I'm waiting for the finals, but I wasn't that happy because when I presented, like, first of all, I had this really crappy judge. Like, he was just so mean for no reason. And then, like, my projector wasn't working. My graphs weren't showing really well on the wall. Like, I was just feeling so sad that when I was done presenting, like, I kind of went out of the room. And as I was walking back to my hotel room, I just started crying. Like, in the middle of the lobby, I was just crying. No one was looking at me. I felt so alone. And I was just there crying. But then as I was crying, like, I heard in my spirit, and it's so amazing because that is one of the few times I can say I know that it was the Lord speaking to me, right? So I could hear in my spirit that, God said, you crying shows that you've lost faith in me, right? And like, that touched me. I was like, whoa, okay. So then I was like, you're right, Lord. So I stopped crying, and I was like, I have faith that no matter what happens, you are still with me. So I go back to my room, and it gets to the afternoon, and they've posted who made it to finals, who made it to top 10 in the country. And I didn't want to join my friends outside to check that because I was still kind of scared that I wouldn't make it to finals, and like, all I invested was all for nothing. So then I'm in my room, I'm blow drying my hair, and all of a sudden, like, four of my friends just barge into my room, and they're like, Grace, guess what? And I'm like, what is happening? I was so scared because, like, what could they possibly want to tell me? So I was like, what is happening? And then they were like, you made it to top 10 in the United States. And like, I was like, ah! And then like they were all shouting too, and like, it was just a nice, wonderful like show of support, because I think that was one of the few times in my entire high school experience that I truly felt support from teammates, and it was just so amazing. They were like, I gave them hugs and high fives, and I was like, thank you so much for coming in to tell me like this. It was amazing. So yeah, I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, I made it. That's like the third time I'm crying in just 1 year of being in VPA. I was constantly crying, So I'm like, Mom, I made it to final. She's like, hey, thank you, Jesus. So thank you, Lord. So yeah, so then I made it to finals. I was on Wednesday, Thursday. So then on Friday, I go and compete against the top 10 in the country right now. And that was, bruh, I can't even begin to describe what I was feeling in that moment, but I was feeling so stressed because I was like, just like say, it's like, what can I possibly do to make my presentation, just pass a little bit so I can just get top 3 in the United States, because getting top 3 makes you a legit champion, like a legit national champion, But I didn't know what to do. So I just went and I presented, and I can say for sure that, my presentation like the last presentation I gave for finals, the national finals, was like the best one I ever gave. Like the best time I ever gave that presentation throughout the entire year that I was in VPA. I gave my all to that presentation, So I was just like, I've done like all I can. God, it's your turn. Just lead me through. So yeah, I just presented. And then obviously I forgot to talk about the other spreadsheets competition. I went for that, but it was hard as heck. Like, I didn't know what I was doing, so I had zero hope that I was gonna make it. And yeah, anyways, I think Saturday night comes around, or maybe Sunday morning or something, I don't know, and it's time for the award ceremony. So yeah, we're all in the room, and they call out the other competitions. You know, they go from A to B to C and everything. So they go to F, which is my spreadsheet competition, and obviously my name is not there. Which, who's surprised? Like, like I knew I wasn't gonna make it to top 10 at all. So I was just like, well, it's fine, it's okay. And then they go like all the other letters, and then they get to P, which is presentation management individual. And like even before they got to my competition, like I was already crying because like the pressure, which is what the fourth time I'm crying, because the pressure was just so much. Because you know, like I had so many people I was representing. I was representing my family, obviously, because I mean, I don't think any of us has like been part of a competition that took us this far. You know, like to the entire United States. I was representing my church. You know, I was representing my school, my state, Michigan. I was also representing Nigeria because obviously, like, you don't get to see a lot of Nigerian people who are in this organization who have gotten this far, you know? So, like, I feel like I had so much pressure on my hands, like, all those people who really wanted me to win. And I just started crying, you know? And anyway, they call presentation management. And obviously, I know I made it to finals, which means I'm top 10. So my name appears on the list, and they call us up on stage. And just like before, they start actually no, this time they only call first, second, and third. That's all. So if you don't hear your name, you didn't you're not a champion. You're a finalist, but you're not a champion, you know. So they call third place, it's not me. They call second place, it's not me. And I'm at this point I'm like, bruh, either I'm gonna be the happiest person on earth and get first place in the entire country, or not, you know. And they call first place, and drumroll, it is not me. So, you know, yeah, I didn't become a national champion. And, you know, the top three, like, go on stage, they get their plaques or whatever, they're smiling. I'm just in the background, like, Then I go back to my seats. You know, my teammates are like, Grace, you did good. We're so proud of you. I'm like, thank you, thank you. But I just sit down on my seat and I'm like, I didn't get, I didn't become a national champion. And even though, like, obviously I came so far, like farther than a lot of people were ever able to go, like I was still so sad. I felt like I failed, you know? So for the fifth time, I was in my seat, like the room was kind of dark, so I just sit there and I start crying again because I just feel like I just felt like I didn't come here, I didn't achieve what I came here to achieve, you know? And yeah, I just cried for 30 minutes straight. But then after 30 minutes, I just wiped my tears. I'm like, you know what? It is what it is, you know? I did my best. I know for a fact that I did my best. And yeah, I guess that's just not the plan. Anyways, I go, you know, like the next day we catch a flight, we go back home. And yeah, that was it. I go back to my family, and like once they see me, they just hug me. They're like, Grace, we don't care. Like we're so, I mean, yeah, we're so proud of you. Like, you did your absolute best, and it's fine. And you know, at that point, like I started to actually believe them, you know, because I know I did do my best, you know, like I put in what I could, you know. Anyways, the next day I go back to school, and I hear from my teacher that even though I wasn't a national champion, I did get fifth place, you know. So I got fifth place in the entire country, which even though it's not as impressive as, you know, first, like, are you kidding? Fifth place? Like, that is so much to be grateful for. You know, once I heard that, I was like, God, I'm so sorry forever. I just felt so bad for feeling like I was a failure, you know, because fifth place means like, you know, like it's still a pretty huge deal, you know, and that's like my friends and from church and everything were like, oh my gosh, fifth place, that's amazing. So I guess that made me feel a little bit better. And, you know, even though I wasn't a champion, like I still got a huge, like I was still a pretty, it was still a pretty big win for me, you know? So yeah, that is my journey to becoming a national finalist. So now some lessons I learned from this entire thing is that, first of all, like, you know, no matter how good you are, you know, no matter how talented, like no matter how skillful or amazing you are, whatever you're doing is, like there's always going to be someone who is better. There's always going to be someone who's like practicing to be better and doing more and more and more. So, you know, even if you've gotten to that highest place, you know, you're like, bro, I'm literally the best. Like, who else is going to be better than me? Like, there's always going to be someone who is better than you. So, you know, never stop working to get better, to get higher in your field or whatever, you know, because then you're actually able to beat out the like other people, and like you can make yourself proud and everything, you know? So yeah. And secondly, like just be grateful for wherever you're at, because no matter how much of a failure you feel like you're way better than a lot of other people. So just, excuse me, always feel grateful for what you have. And yeah, that is my journey to becoming a national finalist slash champion. Wink, wink. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you watched to the end, I know it's a very long video, but yeah, if you watched to the end, here's your kiss. Like always, thank you so much. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye and God bless.